Okay. Hold on. Can you guys see my title slide? Choosing additives and supplements, take the test ride.
Yes, we can.
Oh, thanks, Kelly. Perfect.
Yep, we're there.
Can you see a little, you don't see a box at the bottom that has like the mute, stop video, participants and all that kind of stuff, right? Only I see that?
That's right.
Okay, good. I just didn't want to make sure it wasn't blocking anything. Okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Like I said, we're going to talk about choosing additives, supplements, and even how this relates to choosing feeds for horses today through an acronym that we developed called the test ride. And let me just welcome you, of course, to this virtual showcase. Congratulations on finding your way here to us, as we were chatting about. It's a little like, how do you get there? You get to go to the showcase and then go to the page and then click on virtual showcase. So congratulations for making it here. As we've advertised, one lucky winner will win a ton of feed today for attending this talk. So that's very exciting. I hope you all have plenty of horses to feed that feed to, should you be the winner. Here we go, into the winter. Also, if you're not the winner of the ton of feed today, you can get the coupon booklets that we normally give away at AAEP at our booth through our web portal, which has all things related to helping to feed horses nutritionally, especially with medical conditions, at our website, equinevetnutrition.com. So make sure you go there, register on the site, click on the information to get your coupon sent to you, and also check out all the really great information there. You can also request a consult with a PhD if you need special nutritional support for any of your clients or cases that you're working on. Just a little background of who I am. So I'm Dr. Mary Beth Gordon. I've been with Purina since 2005. I have an affinity for small, funny looking rescue dogs and fancy, expensive dressage horses. So I've been a horse person since I was a kid, and I currently live in the Hudson Valley in New York. My Bachelor's of Science in Large Animal Sciences from Delaware Valley University in Pennsylvania, and my PhD in Animal Science with a specialty in horse nutrition and exercise physiology is from Rutgers University in New Jersey. And like I said, I've been with Purina since 2005. I currently direct all of the new product development and research for the horse division. And then I also oversee all of our lifestyle research and technical support. So I have a group of really great and smart scientists that report to me for all of our lifestyle species. So that's our backyard flock and deer, aquaculture, show animals, sheep and goat, our in-house brand, dog and cat brands called Exclusive and Infinia. And they are just a great group of people to work with and scientists. And it's fun to oversee that whole group. So today, however, we are going to talk about horse supplements and additives. And I think everyone can absolutely agree that it is a wild world of supplements out there. And horse owners are asking, the number one person that they are asking about what supplements to feed is their veterinarian. So they come to you first to know what to feed to their horses in terms of supplements. And they're also asking nutritionists and trainers, their friends and people on the internet. But studies have shown that vets are the number one resource for nutritional and supplement information. So we wanted to be able to give you a way to help evaluate these supplements so that you know how to better recommend them to your clients. If you go on SmartPak, there's over 400 supplements available just there alone. Great company. We all wish we invented SmartPak, right? But how do you weed through what's there? And at one point I was talking to a friend of mine that tracks all these things, and she said there were over 500 joint supplements available in the US alone for horse owners to choose from. So a lot out there. So how do you know from all of this what to choose or recommend? So I was developing a talk on this a few years ago for our Purina Vet conference that we host in St. Louis every year in October. And I came up with this acronym called the test ride. And the test ride stands for research, ingredients, dose, and efficacy. And we're going to talk about these things as we go through what each one of them means and how it's going to influence your decision whether or not a supplement or an additive passes the test ride or not. Okay, so the first one, R. R stands for research. And, you know, this one can actually be a little bit tricky because so many companies will all say, oh, well, this is backed by research. But what does that really mean? For us, it means that this product should be tested in horses, because even if it's been fed to mice or to humans or to pigs, it doesn't mean that horses can absorb the ingredient. It doesn't mean that it's safe for horses. Take ionophores, for example, quite safe to feed ionophores or antibiotic ionophores to cattle, but will become lethal for a horse. So it's really important for us to see that any ingredient or any supplement is tested via research in horses. And this research should be available for you to review and look over. You should be able to find it. For example, we make these research reviews that you can look through to see what research we have on our products. We can send you the links to published abstracts or send you the link to full-length published peer-reviewed papers to show you the work that we've done with certain feeds and supplements. So look for these in horses. If you are not finding any research on that product already, for me, like that's a red flag that they haven't done the homework they need to do for me to feel confident in recommending this product to horse owners. The next one is ingredients. So I in the test ride, RIDE, the I stands for ingredients. And this one's really important to me because so many times we see ingredient labels that look something like this. So this is a real ingredient label that is on a supplement that is currently sold out there. And what drives me a little bit crazy about this is that there's a million things, right, on this label. And to me, I look at all of the things on here and I think, how can there be any one of these things in the right amount to make a difference for the horse when you have so many ingredients on a label? And just here, I've got so many different oils: a rice bran oil, a hemp seed oil, a borage oil, a sesame seed oil, a sunflower oil, a pumpkin oil, a grape seed oil. How much of each of those is actually getting into the dose of this supplement? So I want to see ingredient labels that have the specific amount of ingredients and that it makes sense that it's in there for the actual reason that you're feeding the supplement. So some other additional thoughts on ingredients: are the ingredients safe to use for competition or racing horses? If you have horses that are going to be tested or be in a situation that they cannot have any type of prohibited substances in their system, there is a zero tolerance policy over many of those ingredients. So you need to make sure you check those labels for those if you're working with competition or racing horses. For us, on the feed side, anything that we put in a 50-pound bag of feed or we register as a supplement for horses through the feed divisions in the United States all have to have AAFCO approved ingredients. And these AAFCO approved ingredients, they're all controlled by this American Association of Feed Control Officials. And you can't put anything in that feed that's not already AAFCO approved. So for example, glucosamine is actually not AAFCO approved. So it's not legal to put it in your feed and sell it in all 50 states around the country. So what you can do, though, is you can put certain ingredients like glucosamine, chondroitin sulfate into supplements and then they're generally recognized as safe, and then they can be governed by other bodies such as the NASC or the National Animal Supplement Council. So many more ingredients are allowed in supplements than they are for feed. And then if you're looking for these supplements, you want to look for endorsements by a company such as the NASC that helps to make sure that things are in there at the right amount, that helps to make sure that you know, people aren't making egregious claims about their supplements, that they're going to, you know, cure X, Y, and Z, and that type of thing. All right, so next, the D in the test ride, so RIDE, the D in the test ride stands for dose. And this is one we come up against all the time, and we see all kinds of supplements fail the test ride because of this dosing section. And that is because the amount in the supplement and the amount that you feed should end up being a proper amount for the horse that you're feeding. And what we see a lot of times is the amount in the supplement is very, very low, or the amount in the serving size, because someone thinks, well, it's a bucket supplement and it comes with this little scoop, so I'm just gonna, you know, put 1 scoop in. Well, actually, it turns out you need to feed 6 scoops of that supplement to get the right amount in there for that horse. So you need to be thinking about the amount that's actually in the supplement and the amount you feed the amount you feed in each dose to figure out what's going into your horse. So some questions to think about when you're looking at a supplement. Can you afford to feed the correct amount? There's a lot of supplements out there. Like I said, people feed like 1 scoop a day, but really the proper feeding dose is 3 or 5 scoops a day. And then sometimes it gets cost prohibitive to do that. If you're feeding it then at this higher amount that you're supposed to, 5 or 6 scoops a day, say, for example, will the horse actually eat it? One thing I like to ask people is there a more cost-effective option that actually could be more physiologically relevant for your animal? So I've done some evaluations where I look at these high-end oral joint supplements, and they would cost just as much as multiple multi-dose vials of Additives that you can get from the, you know, that you guys can prescribe for your clients. And is there a way that you can work with your clients where you would say, let me come in and do, you know, just a very basic lameness exam, and let's do some flexions and this and that, and see how your horse looks. And then we can either put them on a very good quality oral joint supplement, and then do another lameness exam and see if it helps them, 4 to 6 weeks later. And if it's not helping, let's change them to another supportive program, such as Additives or Legend or something like that, so that that the horse is getting the support they need and the owner is spending their money where it counts for the horse. So, and finally, how do you know the dose is right? So there's a lot of unanswered questions about proper amounts for horses when it comes to many of these ingredients. So for example, 2 summers ago, we did a big study at the research farm at Purina, and we looked at turmeric. And everybody loves turmeric, think, oh, anti-inflammatory, and that should be great for joints. And, we did all kinds of pre-work to determine, well, what should the proper dose of turmeric be in horses? And we fed it at 3 different levels to try to find the sweet spot. And we looked for, metabolites of turmeric in the blood and tried to get serum levels to a certain level so that we know we would be feeding enough to make it do the job we thought we wanted it to do. And horses didn't absorb it at all. So we had to feed huge amounts to find tiny minuscule amounts in the blood work that we did. So you could, in our study, you could feed the quality and type of turmeric that we fed, which is very high quality, to horses day after day after day and not find it in their system. So a lot of questions about how much to feed and if it's actually getting to where it needs to be. And finally, the E is for efficacy. What we like to see is that when someone feeds a supplement, or a feed for that matter, that they see the difference that they're looking for. So for example, I've got this cute little horse here, and she's got, nice set of large ears on her head. And if someone came and tried to sell me a supplement saying that, well, I'm going to shrink this horse's ears because we don't want her ears to get any bigger. Like, we do not want this horse to look like a donkey. Okay. And I feed her the supplement for 3 or 4 months, and the mare's ears look like this. Okay. I did not see or feel a difference with the supplement. Her ears continued to get larger as she grew. Right. So it's a little bit of a joke, and I'm, just joking around to try to keep you guys interested. But the point is when you use a joint supplement, when you use a high fat, high calorie supplement to put on weight, when you use a supplement to help improve muscle recovery, something like that, you should be seeing the differences in your horse. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 products through the test ride so you guys can just see me do it like live and what I think through when I'm looking at these supplements. So first one is Purina Outlast, and I'm going to take you through this one. I like to joke that Outlast is 4 years of my life and also many other people on this call, their lives as well, as from when we found this ingredient, became interested in it, to when we finally were able to get it in this bag and out on the market. So a lot of research behind it and figuring out how it would work for horses. So Outlast is on the market. It's a gastric support supplement. It's a gastric buffer from seaweed-derived calcium. It retails for about $39.99 a bag. It has each dose or serving size for an average 1,000-pound horse is 200 grams. You can feed it up to 6 times a day. So on average, for 3 servings a day, it costs $1.33 per day to feed Outlast to a horse. Does it pass the R in research? If you go on our website and click through and find the information on Outlast, you'll see there's a ton of research on Outlast. We now have 5 peer-reviewed publications out there. We have a full peer-reviewed paper, full-length paper in the Journal of Equine Veterinary Science, and you'll find this information on all the different studies we did. So to me, green check, passes the test ride for R for research. I mean, it should, right? We did the work. Next, I for ingredients. And on this, when you look at the ingredient label for Outlast, it starts with sun-cured alfalfa, then goes to wheat midds, then there's our seaweed-derived calcium, some cane molasses for palatability, some magnesium oxide, also another nice buffering agent, some citric acid. So when you look at our supplement, it's this simple and proven formula, not that huge ingredient list that I showed you at the beginning. And it's got the right amount in there that we've determined for horses. We've done the studies where looking at feeding a certain grams of the seaweed-derived calcium at different levels, what do we need to get the proper statistically significant buffering capacity? So this is relatively how much seaweed-derived calcium is in our bag of Outlast. And since we launched this product in 2017, we've had a lot of competitors come on the market now saying, oh, we have the same thing and ours buffers just as well. And when you actually look at other products on the market, they're not using the same type of seaweed-derived calcium. They have to use a different type of marine calcium, which they label as calcite. And when you look through all the different ingredients and how much they actually put in, they put in just a small amount of that buffering agent in there compared to what we have in Outlast. So again, they're going to not be able to buffer the stomach as well and do as well with when there's all these different ingredients in there, all in small amounts, than when there's less ingredients but in there at the right amount for the horse. What's the dose for Outlast? So the dose for Outlast is about 1 1/4 cups or 200 grams up to 6 times per day. And each dose is about 11 grams of buffering agents, 9 grams of calcium and 2 grams of magnesium. If you feed that up to 6 times a day, that's about 66 grams per day of buffering agents. So I'm happy with this. How much buffering agent does a horse really need? That's work we did with Dr. Frank Andrews at Louisiana State University to show how much we needed to buffer the horse's stomach and do a good job at it. So I feel good about that. Passes the test ride for dose. And then when it comes to efficacy, I will say, I caution horse owners, like, be careful about, just looking at testimonials. I mean, I think we've all learned a little bit from shopping on Amazon that the testimonials may not always be exactly exactly truthful and representative of the product. We have to use a little discernment there. But overall, you can get an idea. When you look for efficacy, one, you personally should see a difference in the horse if that's the type of supplement or additive that you want to use. You should see that difference. But if you're seeing these positive reviews over and over and over again, it can give you an indication that things are going well. So Purina Outlast has had, 4.9 out of 5, 5-star reviews and lots of great things on there that you can check out. All right. So then what I wanted to do, obviously Outlast passes the test ride. It's designed to. That's how we design our feeds and our supplements to fit all these criteria. And I said, well, let me just put it up against, I'm just going to write gastric buffer or, horse gastric buffer. That's what I put in Google. I wrote it down, horse gastric buffer. And I'm like, whatever the first supplement is that comes up on Google, so good for them for having good, algorithms to get their supplement to be the first one to pop up, then I'm going to compare that to Outlast and see if it passes the test ride. So it's a competitive buffer. This is the one I found. It's $49.95 a gallon. The dose is a 1/4 cup, and they recommend it to be fed up to 3 times a day. It is 78 cents per dose or $2.34 per day to feed it. So it's an extra $1 a day to feed this supplement. Let's talk about research. So I went to their website. I looked for research. I could find none. No research that they had ever fed it to horses. No research that it had been published anywhere. I did find articles and information on related medical conditions, so such as, colic in horses and gastric ulcers and what they mean, but no links or information to actual research on this project. And it is patented, and I respect a patent. We try to patent things too when we come up with new ways to do things. And they do have it patent protected, and you do have to show research when you get something patented to show how it's different than other things that are on the market. So I'm not quite sure why they're not then making some of that research readily available for horse owners and veterinarians, but I could not find that. All right, let's look at the ingredients of this one. Had distilled water, canola oil, calcium carbonate, magnesium oxide, zinc oxide, lecithin, vegetable gum, and a preservative. So did it contain buffering agents? So did it do does it have the agents in it for what it is intended for? And for me, yes, it does. Did this ingredient list make sense? Absolutely. Calcium carbonate, magnesium oxide, those are good buffers. They will work in horses. Maybe not the very best you could choose, but it has ingredients in there that make sense for its intention of use. And it's not this list of a million different ingredients, everything but the kitchen sink. What about the dose? So the dose is a 1/4 cup per dose, or 60 grams up to 3 times per day. I went and back calculated the amount of buffering agents based on the guaranteed analysis on the tag that is, and that gives you 1.5 grams of calcium and 2 grams of magnesium. And so that's 3.5 grams of buffering agents per dose, or up to 10.5 grams per day. So again, remember I asked, like, how much of a buffering agent does a horse need? And for us and the research that we've done, where we actually, give horses buffering agents, and then we scope them and we take samples of the gastric juice and we do gastric pH and we determine what that level is. This wouldn't be enough all day to really buffer the horse's stomach effectively. So, and if we remember that, if we can compare it back to Outlast, Outlast has 11 grams of buffering agents per dose and up to 66 grams of buffering agents per day. What about efficacy? So they did have some very nice reviews through one of their online sales sites, and they had 17 reviewers, which is we'll take that. And some people would say that it really works, and they felt that it was helpful for their horses. So the question is, will you buy it? And I wanted to be, sort of honest with my observation here. This is a little bit, a little hard to just make a judgment call, right? Like I could have picked something that just fails the test ride miserably. And then it makes it, of course, you choose Outlast over what fails the test ride miserably, you know? But there's a lot out there that are like this, right? That, okay, well, this might help a little bit. It's not going to hurt. And so you have to, you know, discern through, well, how much am I willing to spend? And is there something competitively that might work better? And do your homework so that you can make a good informed decision. I just want to make a note here about feed additives, because a little peek behind the curtain, you know, for us at Purina, we're trying to develop the, you know, best and latest and greatest feeds for your horses and supplements. And we get a lot of calls from companies that are looking to put their additives in our feed. And what I mean by additives is all of the prebiotics, probiotics, you know, yeast, minerals, you know, butyric acid, electrolytes, enzymes. I mean, you name it, herbs, adaptogens, all kinds of things. And we like to joke about it, but it's true. You know, based on the volume of feed that we can sell across the country in a day with an established company with a good base of horses we feed every single day, is you know, we joke, if you get one of your additives in our feed, we'll make you a millionaire overnight. You know, you get something in Equine Senior, that's pretty great for you as an additive company, because, you know, we feed a lot of senior horses. But that's when it relies on us as the scientists and the nutritionists about what goes into our feeds. So we've been talking about supplements having to pass the test ride, but for us, it's anything that we put in our feed, any additive, any prebiotic, any probiotic, any yeast. And so a lot of things don't make it into our feeds because of the standard we set via our test ride philosophy. And it can be very easy for other companies. They love to make these comparison charts. Now, our feed has prebiotics, probiotics, chelated minerals, yeast, enzyme, down the list. And oh, Purina is missing all of these things. And so it can make it look like we're lacking on one hand and they're abundant with wonderful things for the horses on the other, when the truth is we have more discernment over what actually belongs in that feed. Does the probiotic, if I put it in a pelleted feed, survive the pelleting process? Is it going to get to the cecum all the way down the digestive tract where we think it would do the most, you know, the most help for the horse? Is it even the right strain of bug to use? We are constantly asking ourselves these questions over and over and over again so that we can put the right amount of things in the horse and not just put it in there. To the industry is a lot of these things are in there a small amount, so they can show up on the tag and you can write a little thing on the front of the bag, oh, contains blah, blah, blah. And the horse owners like it because they think, oh, that sounds great. That sounds beneficial for my horse. And the horse owner is paying for that ingredient to be there. It adds to the cost of the feed, but it's really not in there at a proper amount to make a functional difference in the animal. So just something for you to think about. So this is just a quick example of that. There's people and other companies in the market, and they constantly tout their probiotics that are added to their feed. And then when you look closely, the amount of probiotics in both their horse feed and their chicken feed is exactly the same. So tell me, in your horse feed, this exact amount of each one of these bugs and the exact amount of each one of these bugs in their chicken feed, like, has that really been nutritionally shown to be accurate, that it should be this group of bugs and this amount, and that a horse needs the exact same amount as a chicken? So to me, again, this doesn't pass the test ride. They haven't done the research. It doesn't make sense. The dose doesn't make sense that I would give the chicken the same amount of the horse. And I doubt they're seeing any type of efficacy from this whatsoever. But we see this in the industry all the time. All right. So I feel like I sort of ended this on a little bit of a downer note, but that's not the purpose. Like the purpose is to give you guys information so that you can make good decisions. I guarantee you there are good feeds out there and good supplements and things that absolutely make a difference for your horses and your clients' horses. But let's face it, you guys see this every day. This is what your feed rooms look like when you walk into them, right? This one on the left, I mean, they have 5 or 6 different companies represented here. I see there, we have a bag of Purina up in the corner, and then there's some Triple Crown and some beet pulp and Blue Seal and plain white bag of whatever, and magic carrots. Carrots are pretty awesome. We all love carrots. So how do you choose? How do you choose the feeds? And that's when you have to think through, well, let's look at who's doing the research. Let's look at who's, really doing the work they need to show that these feeds and everything else makes a difference in the horses. And then on the right, the same thing with the supplements, right? Because it's just disaster from all the different things on that table. So how do we figure out what the right things are there for the horse and save a little money and not spend as much on the things that aren't? So in a crowded space, we really like to apply the test ride, hold the feeds and supplements to a higher standard so you know you're using your money to the right products in the right ways. And in the end, it'll be, better for the horses. So once again, I really invite you to visit us at equinevetnutrition.com and go there, register to get your coupons, and click on if you need a nutritional consult. You can go there anytime you have nutrition questions and need help with clients and any tricky nutritional stuff. A lot of great information on there, all types of articles and information of horses with medical conditions. So Dr. Vineyard spearheaded that for us this year and relaunched that, and it looks really great. So really would love to see you over there. And with that, I will take any questions that you have. I'm going to